This is a strategy that they would develop for one of our clients, and I'm giving this away to you for free. So pay attention. Step number one. This is something that a lot of app founders or aspiring app founders miss when they're launching their app, and this is called the pre-launch. Now, the pre-launch is something that takes anywhere between 3 to 5 months. Through marketing, and this could be any number of things, you need to start building anticipation for your product. You need to start letting people know that your product is coming. You need to start teasing the features and teasing what it's going to be doing for them. This is done through various channels. It could be traditional social media marketing. You could use Reddit, or if you already have some kind of audience, you can start letting them know. But this is something that you do on a consistent basis for 3 to 5 months before your product is ready to launch. During the pre-launch phase, the most important thing that you have to think about is step number 2. And step number 2 is you need to build a list. What that means is that it's usually a list of emails of people that are interested in using your app. And this list of emails is going to be the most important thing that you do in the pre-launch phase. You need to put it in some kind of CRM or another system that you can easily communicate with the people that you've collected emails from. You could also build something called a waiting list where people are signed up and they're onboarded based on the number that they get in the waiting list. So it makes sense for them to get in line earlier. So there's a little bit of FOMO going on. But the most important thing is you need to collect their emails so that you can start communicating with them on a consistent basis. Before you get to the next step, don't send too many emails. Something that people mess up here is they send too many emails and people just end up losing interest because they're just hearing more and more about this thing that is coming sometime in the future, but it's not there yet. And another hack or key takeaway for this phase is the best thing you should do is you need to put some kind of offer in those emails. So you can give something more for people that have supported you from the beginning, even before you had a product and before your app was live. So put in some kind of offer. It could be, I don't know, some early bird offer, like 50% off for the first year, or just give them the product for free for a certain period of time. Just make sure you put in some kind of offer so it's not just because of the product that they sign up for your pre-launch list, but also because of the offer. This is going to increase the conversion rate from the people that you target with your marketing during the pre-launch phase. Step 3. This is again something that the big guys or the big apps, big companies do on a consistent basis. But for you right now, what you need to think about is you need to do some kind of beta test. And I know it sounds maybe a little bit weird, a beta test. What am I testing? Well, it's not necessarily because of the beta testing that you're launching it. This is one part of it, but this is more of a soft launch than an actual beta test from your perspective. This means that by this time, we're not going to be talking about the app at all, but just mentioning the fact that by this time you already have most of your features, or your one killer feature is already more or less ready. Maybe your infrastructure is not 100%, maybe you have some bugs. But this is the time that you launch the beta. First of all, your users are going to be testing the software for you. So regardless of how much testing you do internally, you can't test everything yourself. So the users are going to make the testing for you. And also you're going to start collecting, most importantly, feedback, which is the segue to the next step, but you're going to start collecting feedback from your users in this very early phase. Now, this beta testing phase, if you want to do it right, it should take 2 to 4 months. You could do it faster, but I think in order to get enough quality data, it also depends on the size of your list, but 2 to 4 months should give you enough time to test everything out and collect feedback from your users so that you know what's coming next. And for us, what's coming next is step number 4. This is getting a little bit tight, but I hope I can make it. Step number 4 for us is you need to start collecting feedback. And this is a very important part of the beta testing phase and in general the pre-launch phase, because during that specific time, you usually have the people that are, they can't wait to use your product. That's why they're signing up for it early. So if you did a good job during the pre-launch phase and you built up their anticipation, These are going to be the most keen users, the best users for your product potentially. Now, it's not clear if they're necessarily going to be your most loyal paying customers, but at least they're going to be the ones that are going to provide the best feedback for your product so that you know what to build next. One thing I forgot to say in the previous step, the beta launch is a mini launch in itself. And there's different platforms that you can do it. The people that have already done it probably know them by heart. But the most common ones are called Product Hunt. The other one is Hacker News. And there's another one called Beta List. So your beta goes there, and this is your soft launch of your product. Some people don't launch on Product Hunt or Hacker News or anywhere else before they get to the full rollout, but I would advise you to do it here, especially if you're still starting. This is going to teach you a lot of important lessons about the fact that people are not just going to come because you've built the product. You need to do marketing, you need to do outreach, you need to do a lot of things to have this be a success. So this is going to teach you a lot for step number 6. But we're still on step 4. When we talk about collecting feedback, you can do it in multiple ways. I think especially if we're talking about an app, whether that's a web app or a mobile app, the best way to do it is doing user surveys inside of the application. So if it's a web app, you can build a survey yourself if you want to. You can use something like Typeform, or you can use something like Intercom to do the surveying of your users. This is for web apps. And for mobile apps, we use a few different tools than that. Bear in mind that this is software that I own, so shameless plug here. But you could use a tool called Mopser, which allows you to easily add surveys to your mobile application. Another popular option for mobile apps is called Surveycate, and you can use that as well. You collect the feedback, and the next thing you do with that feedback is you need to put it in some kind of system where you start to analyze the feedback that users are giving to you. The most popular one, I think, and potentially maybe the easiest to use, is called Canny. Look it up online. I'll put a link in the video description to that as well. Canny is a software where we can put all the bugs, bug reports, all the feature requests, and you can start prioritizing what happens next. And with this, we are in step number 5. So bear in mind that technically we're still in the beta phase. So we've launched the beta. So this timeline, 2 to 4 months, goes all the way to here. In the full pre-launch phase is 3 to 5 months, and it's right here. We are on the final step before we get to the actual rollout of the product. And this is very simple. You use the feedback that you get from your users and the feature requests and the bug reports that you've added to Canny to fix and add to your product. Now, this is very important because you collect the feedback from your users, but if you don't quickly fix the things that they're reporting to you, if you don't quickly add the things that they're saying that they want in the product, you're gonna lose a lot of their interest. So especially these early adopters, they expect you to be quick and to take into account their feedback. So most important thing to do here is just to prioritize and communicate with the beta testers of what is going to be put in the product. The cool thing about Canny is that you can have like a public board where you can display all the features that are in the pipeline, what you're planning to work on, and things like that. Finally, we get to the next step, which is the full rollout of the product. And this more or less could be similar to the beta launch, but essentially you send a few emails before your launch date. Here, it's actually very important to have a launch date. Now, don't be too optimistic with it. Just make sure that you're going to be ready by that date and just let everyone know we're launching on this date. Now, one thing you could do is you could skip actually the launch date, and that's something that some apps do. And they just say we're launching soon or launching next month. I think it's better to have a specific date and stick to it and be prepared for the launch date, because a lot of things are going to break. People are going to complain, but yeah, it is what it is. It's perfectly normal. But the most important thing during the full rollout is that you need to have your marketing plan ready. You could call it a launch plan or whatever, but be prepared is the most important thing here. You need to know exactly where you're gonna post, what you're gonna post. If you have some kind of partnerships or you're working with influencers or something like that, they need to know when to post their content. Everything has to be done in sync so that you can have a great launch. Having a great launch is, I think, very important, because if it's the first time that you're launching an app, it could be very beneficial for you, for the team that's working on the product, to have a great launch, because if your launch is not great, you could get demotivated, frustrated, and things like that. And yeah, technically, with those 6 steps, your app is already launched. I think another very important step, and that's why I added it here, is step number 7. This is, I would say, 6 months to infinity in terms of a timeline. And this is, again, keep collecting user feedback, because otherwise you have no idea what people think of your product. Keep prioritizing in Canny or something else that you decide to use. Doesn't matter what you pick. You could do it, I don't know, manually. You could use a spreadsheet. I'm just saying, I think this is something that makes your life a lot easier. With those priorities, fix bugs, add features, update your app, and yeah, just have a successful app. And with that, you have it all laid out. This is something that we are currently developing for a client of ours. So my main business not only does mobile app development and web app development, but we also do launches, marketing, email campaigns, and everything else in between for our clients. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you guys. And as always, see you on the next one. Bye.